It's the M.L.M for the Soul channel, and if you've never watched this channel before, then please do check out my first video, because in that video I do explain to you what I'm doing, what's this all about. And if you have watched my videos and you like them, please give me a thumbs up and leave your comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and if you have any suggestions, then I'm open to hearing your ideas for topics I can do for these videos. So first I want to say that may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor before you, Hashem. And I also want to thank some people who've been inspirational for me on my journey. They are Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, and Rabbi Eli Mansour. Now, right now I don't really have a title for today's video, so I'm just going to talk to you about a few different topics, and we may just call it a miscellaneous inspirational video. I don't know. So I'll just play around with it, and hopefully I'll come up with something as I go along. So one thing was very interesting. I don't know if someone said this to me, but I liked when someone said this: check inside your house. If something isn't going according to the way you expect it to, check inside your house. So don't look at the exterior. And when I say house, I'm not talking about a physical structure. I'm actually talking about inside of us, the part of us that is not physical, the part of us that is not tangible, the part of us that we can't touch, taste, smell, feel, etc. Talking about the spiritual essence. So why would we have to check inside? Well, check inside because if you're wondering why something has happened or has not happened, like if you're asking for something from Hashem and Hashem doesn't give it to you, then there's a reason for it. And also, if I am asking and I'm getting it, what's the reason I'm getting it as well? Like, really think about it. Like, when you're dealing with a situation, check in with yourself. That's why I always emphasize that personal prayer is so important, because if you do a day-to-day accounting, then you can figure out, okay, well, what did I do today? And why did this happen? And is it because of something? Of course, we don't necessarily know the absolute answer, but we could kind of see how things are progressing in our life and maybe figure out, like, okay, this is what I was doing here and this is what I'm doing here, and watch the progression over days or months, but really tune in. So that's the idea of checking in, okay, inside of your house. Inside of your house is where it matters. It's the heart of the matter, so to speak. It's the essence. It's the important part. It's what's inside and not on the outside, not on the surface. Because the surface level is not always are we able to really understand what is going on. So we have to dig deeper, so to speak, and really ask ourselves and ask Hashem. And if we don't understand something, say, Hashem, please help me understand this. I thank you. I know this was for my best, no matter what it is, and now I would like to understand it. So Hashem maybe will give you that insight. Sometimes He does, and sometimes you may never know. Sometimes you may never know till Mashiach comes, or till you go to Olam Haba, like why certain thing happened in a certain way at a certain time in a certain place, etc. So that's something that I thought was very interesting. So another one, a sentence or phrase, that there is this is an injection or an infection you will want. So none of us want to, chas v'sholom, get an illness or a sickness, but if we think about it, it's very possible that is for our benefit, that it gives us a chance to do the tikkun, to do the correction we need for our spiritual side. Like if a certain part of us is not working correctly, then we need to see what it is that is not going properly, or what have we done perhaps that have caused this. But the other part of it, I like to always look to the positive side, is an infection or an injection that you will want. What I'm talking about is something that's very pleasurable, very enjoyable, makes you feel good, makes you happy. And what could that be? If you get a dose of Torah, a dose of inspiration, a dose of chizuk, a dose of musar, something that opens up for you, so to speak, the gates of heaven, meaning you get a little bit, tiny drop more understanding from Hashem what is going on in this world, or what am I here for. So it's going to nourish us. So even the tiniest drop that we know, which is so little, there's so much there that is way beyond our comprehension. But even getting that little injection, that spurs us to continue on, and you kind of get addicted to it, and in a positive way. Of course, you can't get enough of it. You want to study it and listen to it and learn it and practice it all the time, because that's important too, is to practice it. Then the other thing that I found very interesting in this same vein is that where we operate, so to speak, there's an operating room, and we need our tools and utensils and equipment. So, like, there's the equipment we use in the kitchen. Think about, there's different places where we use equipment. We use equipment in a hospital as different tools, in the kitchen. If you're a woodworker, if you're an engineer, if you're a mechanic, if you're a sewer, a designer, a knitter, a painter, a dentist, a doctor. There's so many professions, and every profession has its tools and equipment that it needs in order to actually perform the work that they have to do. You can't just go in and say, well, I'll just do it without anything. You need certain specific things that are actually going to help you in order to do that certain thing. And without it, you won't be able to complete your task, to complete what you're supposed to do. So we can think about that the same way. We can equate that with the Torah. There are tools that we're given. We can't understand the Torah necessarily the way it is, like if there are mitzvahs in there that we're supposed to do, commandments, without it being explained. And that's why they have the oral Torah, the Torah Shebaal Peh. So that gives us the tools to understand more. And then we have other things, the Mishnah, the Talmud, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. There's so many other adjuncts that are enhancing it, that are giving more understanding of what it is that we are doing. So that's a means to equip us in order to be able to do certain things, because without it, we would be lost. There could be a certain mitzvah, commandment that we're supposed to do, but we don't know exactly how we're supposed to do it, or when we're supposed to do it, or where we're supposed to do it. So that's why having the oral Torah is very important, because that's the way we were able to understand and be given the tools and the utensils, so to speak, to be able to actually perform what we're supposed to do. So that's apropos. And right now we're coming up on the holiday of Hanukkah. So the holiday of Hanukkah, we light the candles, we light the menorah, we light in a certain pattern, increasing each day. And we had to be given these tools and utensils, so to speak, how to do it. We had to be given the equipment in order to be able to perform it the way we are supposed to. And without that knowledge, we wouldn't know how to do it. So with any holiday that we celebrate, there are certain guidelines. So that's the same thing like anything else. We have guidelines. The Torah has guidelines to help us perform what Hashem has commanded us to do. So that's our instructions. We're following, quote unquote, a manual. Like a manual has the information in there for you to follow each step by step. So we have to follow each step in order to make that actually happen. And that's very important for us to remember, that there's a certain steps that we need to do with anything we do. Just like someone who is in, in an office, and they're, writing things down or writing a book or whatever it is you have to follow a certain pattern. And when you write, there's grammar, there's spelling, there's sentences and paragraphs and chapters, and and on and on. So there's a sequence. So there's a sequence to everything we have to remember. So that's important that we do all this, and we give ourselves more elevation for our soul, that we get inspired to do what's best. And I pray that with the holiday of Hanukkah coming, and with the light that we bring out and share forth with the world, that we create a place that is filled with simcha, with joy, and with happiness, and with love, with ahava, and with yira shamayim, and love for Hashem, and bitachon and emunah in Hashem, and that we will merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach b'mher b'yameinu amen, and the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash in our time. Thanks for watching. This is the M.L.M for the Soul channel.